Givaldik. Okay, so today is Chulin Daf Samach, and we are going to start Nun Tesam Beis. So we're in the middle of the sugya of the Gemara said ve'elu hein simonei chaya, and obviously, what do you mean elu hein simonei chaya? What do I need simonei chaya? So the Gemara, we're talking about simonim to know if it is if it's chelbasa, right? If it's chelbasa or chelbas mutter. Agavucha, there's another nafkamina also. The other nafkamina is going to be the kisei adam, right? Because a behema does not need kisei adam, and a chaya does need kisei adam. That's the other nafkamina. I don't know why the Gemara does not say that. But zok the Gemara, so elu hein simonei chaya, and the Gemara brings up nafkamina machlokes. The Tanakama says you need karnoisav uvit utalaf karnayim utalafim. And Rabbi says, no, yesh lekanayim yet the tzarich lachzal tlafim, yesh letlafim tzarich lachzal kanayim. And we brought down, we said over quickly, I'm just a quick chazara, machlokes the Rivam and Rabbeinu Tam, a very says the machlokes in the Rivam, and Rabbeinu Tam and Tosis, what the machlokes between the Tanakama and Rabbi is. That what are the tlafim, what role are the tlafim playing like the Tanakama? So like the Rivam, the Tlafim, like the Rivam, what? The Tlafim are the it's the bottom of the split hooves, the hooves themselves, the bottom of the hooves, right? The what's called the part, the hard part, right? Okay. So why are we mentioning the Tlafim? So like the Rivam, we mean to say that's the siman of hechsher. In other words, to know that it's a kosher animal. And there's no machlokes between the Tanakama and between the Tanakama and Abdoisa legabe the simonim of a chaya. Everybody is masking that the siman of a chaya is the karnai is in the karnaim. But the question is, if it's kosher or it's not kosher, that the Tanakama holds that you're not going to find the Tanakama holds it's possible to find a non-kosher animal that has karnayim, and that's why I have to also be boidik in the tlafim for the hechsher of the animal. I'm boidik in the tlafim for the hechsher of the animal, and I'm boidik in the karnayim to know if it's a chaya or behema. That's what the Tanakama holds. And Deisha says no. What do you need? Well, once I ask karnayim, there's no such thing as there's no tummy animal that doesn't have karnayim. That is the Tanakh. That is the machlokes. That's the machlokes loit the Rivam, and loit the Rivam is going to be very geschmack the sugya that the Gemara has a hemshich, right? Of the Gemara is going to say the simonim only in the karnayim. What do you mean? What happened to the tlafim? The teretz is that we're going because the tlafim was the gabi hechsher of if it's tamei atar, not if it's a chaya or behema. And our sugya is knowing if it's a chaya or behema. Yeah, very geschmack. That's one knech. One more important knech that we have to read ois. I think we read ois from the Maram Shif. A very important thing. Why did Reb Doisa mention the tlafim? Why didn't he talk about being malagera? If we're talking about being machshir, the what's called? If we're talking about being machshir, to knowing if it's Torah or Tameh, so check Malagera. Why are you saying Tlafim? Why are you saying there's two things, the Malagera or Mafras Parsa? Why are you say Malagera? So Genzei, very geschmack, because we know that there's only one animal that was the sugi that we had before. There's only one animal that has split hooves that's not kosher. That's a chazir, and a chazir does not have karnayim. So once you have karnayim and tlafim, you're good. Yeah? Even like the Tanakama that holds that it's possible, yeah, in the cheshbon of the Rivam, even in the Tanakama that holds that it's possible to have a tummy animal that has karnayim, but if it has split hooves, it's impossible. Because if it has split hooves, then the only one is a chazir, and a chazir does not have karnayim. Gishmak, cheshbon, klor. Very good. Yeah. And like this Taisis, will be very geschmack. Why and the sugya is going to the kuliyama. The sugya is going silent to Tanakama, silent Reb Doisa, because silent to Tanakama, silent Reb Doisa, the way to differentiate between the chay and the behema is clearly all with the horns. That is the Rivam's sugya. Rabbeinu Tam has a different sugya. Rabbeinu Tam says no. The machloikis, the Tanakama and Reb Doisa is completely about if it's a chay or a behema, and they're not discussing hechsher and tameh and tar at all. So what's the shmuz? The shmuz, and so karnaim, we know karnaim are different simon, like the Gemara is going to be ma'arich to discuss how you know if something is a chaya. What's tlofim? Zok Rabbeinu Tam. Tlofim is, we're talking about that there's a difference in between the shape of a huv of a chaya and a shape of a huv of a behema. A big fat huv is something that is for behemoths. Domestic animals need their tlofim are right. The use for the tlofim is more for I guess that it shouldn't sink into the swamps, whatever. And fakerta there, the wider one is more of a use. Mashenke the chayis, the mountain goats, the Rashi's, the Steinbeck. It's not shaykh what they do with these little tlafim. They have to be little small ones. So, and the difference is we're talking about the tlafim that look like chayis and that. So loit. And Loit Rabbeinu Tam is going to come out, that the Gemara that's ma'arich to know the different animals, obviously, and the Gemara wants to know, how do you know? Maybe it's still a para, because a para has what do you mean? Why are you chayshim para? I'm checking the tlafim. The teretz is, Loit Rabbeinu Tam, you're going to have to learn that the Gemara is not discussing, that the Gemara's, our whole cheshbon is in Reb Doisa. One more knach that's important to red eyes. The lashon of tlofim is a problem. So later Rabbeinu Tam, it's very geshmak. Why we chapped on? Why all of a sudden did we talk about tlofim? Why are we talking about the like Rashi says? Tlofim is the tzipor ne'aprosos, the hard part of the split hooves. Where did that come in over here? For such shaykhis though. Why are we so later Rabbeinu Tam? It's gorgeous because we're mamish discussing that. We're not discussing the fact that they're split hooves. We're discussing the shape of the hoof. We're discussing mamish that thing. So later Rabbeinu Tam is delicious, right? But like the Rivam, it's schwer. Why we all of a sudden discussing process? Yeah. So I want to say pshatov the gezach. And maybe this will offend for a different thing, why he read the thing, and it's also a little bit of a hemshech of the Gemara. The Gemara, it means to compare and to group together, either al simon, or maybe even more than that, maybe this is the reason for it, like the Gemara is saying, that the tzipor ne'aprosos and the horns are basically the same kind of a material. We're going to have the same thing before. The Gemara is going to say makar and mafris about the shorsha hikar of Adam Arishan, that it's makar and mafris, that it was karnoisav koydem leprusoisav. We're always comparing these two things. What are these two things? Because these two things are they're the same hard material, that same thing, and that's why we're discussing the two in one what's called it in one go, in one sentence, the Karen and the tlafim, and that's why we mention the tlafim, but not because the pshat is we mean the tlafim as opposed to the whole split hooves. Maybe that's why we chapped on the tlafim and not the process completely. Good? Okay, so good. So the Gemara is like this. The Gemara says, so Karnaim, it's not true. It can't be that Karnaim itself is an indication again. So look, we're talking about the Madama that holds that we're not looking at the process at all. We're only looking at the Karnaim. And one Karnaim cannot teach you that something is a Chayah because we have plenty of behemoths that have Karnaim. That's not true, right? So the Gemara goes like this. Klalu. Yeah, this is how the Gemara does. I'm going to read over the Gemara again, right? We're going to pick up the Gemara over here on the 7th line. Klaluhu vare'ez di'esh karnaim utlafin. Has karnaim utlafin, right? Like the Tanakama v'chel b'yaser, because it's a behem. So the Gemara kruchos be'inan. Now, so now here there's going to be this is the problem. The problem is that Rashi has two mahalchim and there are a lot of different girsois in Rashi. So let me see if I can just close it. So there's two pshatim in Rashi. Rashi says kruchos. At one point, Rashi says kruchos means it means levels, meaning that the Rashi in Rosh Hashanah famously says that the shofar of a para is it comes, it's layered. In other words, every year he gets another what's called it. He gets another layer, so it's like made out of a whole bunch of layers. That's what kruchos means. So the Gemara says that kruchos binan, and apparently the A's is not kruchos, and therefore, so the Gemara, if you see it's kruchos, so then you know that it's not an A's. Frak the Gemara v'harei shor the kruchos v'chel by aser. Yeah, so kruchos is not going to be enough because maybe it's a shor, right? And for the Gemara, charukos binan, right? Now what's charukos? So charukos is, it needs the notches, it needs bumps, right? Frek the Gemara kasha vareyes the charukos the chel boyaser. Now what's the Gemara's kasha? Who cares about the A's? We already disqualified A's by saying that it's kruchos, right? Once it's kruchos and charukos, so you're good. It's not an A's because it's kruchos, and it's not a shor because the shor has a smooth horn, and this is charukos. That's what the Gemara should have said, right? However, so the Gemara doesn't say that. The Gemara asks from A's. Zok Rashi. At this point, the Gemara thinks that we need one and not the other. We need either this or that, and the Gemara is not yet nachas to the concept of doing more than one siman. So therefore, frak the Gemara vareyes. Now the problem is going to be, and this is a very, very important problem. Well, I'm just giving you the heads up. The problem is going to be, if that was the reason why the Gemara didn't just say kruchos and charukos, the reason is because the Gemara thought you're going to do one at a time. So the Maskonas HaGemara, why do I need more than just kruchos and charukos? Kruchos to disqualify the A's, and charukos to disqualify the shar. Why do I need more than those two? That's a big problem. That's Tosfos' kasha. I'm just giving you the heads up. That's Tosfos' kasha on the sugya, because the Gemara is going to say to Maskana, you need three things. Yeah. V'harei A's the charukos v'chel by aser. A's has the notches and it's chel by aser. So the Gemara mifutzalos binan. No, I need it to be mifutzalos. I need it to be branches. And unless it's not branches, it's not a. It's. I have to name on that it is a behema. Frek the Gemara, and this is one of the. A very, very, very famous Gemara and Rashi in Shas. Frek the Gemara v'harei tzvi the ein mufutzalos v'chel by mutter. We discussed this already yesterday, but we'll say it over to cover those that weren't here yesterday. V'harei tzvi the ein mufutzalos v'chel by mutter. That tzvi is not branches out and it's chel by aser and chel by mutter. Now, right? So first of all, agavorcha. By the way, the Gemara was never saying. Yeah, there's some pshat problem in this Gemara that we're only giving a siman to know when something is a chaya. We're not trying to disqualify that it's not a chaya, right? And the Gemara is asking a kasha, good, but I'm going to disqualify something if I say that it has to be mufutzalos. I didn't say it has to be mufutzalos. I'm just telling you that if it's mufutzalos, you know that you can have the chalif. That's a zaytika problem in the Gemara. But frek Rashi A's the aim of tzvi, the aim of futzois. What do you mean? And we all know that a deer has nice big antlers, right? That is Rashi's kasha. Zok Rashi famously that tzvi in the Torah is not a deer. Tzvi is not a deer. What's a tzvi? Steinbock. What's Steinbock? Steinbock is this fascinating thing, is these mountain goats, and they were familiar with them. The mountain goats is one of the most fascinating things in the Eibishter's bria. The Eibishter made these deers that they're mountain goats. They could run mamish on vertical things. Mamish they go mamish go. It's unbelievable what they could do. They live on the mountains. It's mamish not shach. You can't get anywhere close to them. And those they taka have straight horns. A straight horn. It's whatever. But it's not mafutzalis. That's what Rashi says. And Toises is matmia on Rashi that Hayitachin, we know that a tzvi has tight skin and a whole bunch of other zachen avad. They can't be a steinbock. So what? So what does it mean? So what does it mean? The Mefarshes Baneinu want to say that there's two types. There are a number of tzviim, and one of them is that's taka very nimsa in Eretz Yisrael is the gazelle, and the gazelle has a straight horn, and that's what the Gemara is asking from Akasha. The Gemara is not asking every tzvi is mefutzolos. The Gemara is asking we do have some tzviim that are mefutzolos. In the most simple way, like this. So the Gemara, okay, say nechanami mefutzolos not chadurais binan. Now, what does chadurais mean? So Rashi over here brings down two pshatim. Either chadurais means round, and then if chadurais means round, right? Zok Rashi, no, I'm not masking. Chadurais doesn't mean round. This is the pashtus how to read Rashi, because you know why I'm not masking that it means round, because it would make sense, right? Because we know that a goat, its horns are not round, right? It's not round circumference. It's like more flat. So memela, so it makes sense that we're going on. We mean to. That's why we need round. But Lamaisa Rashi is not happy with it because all of a sudden here Rashi comes to say that kruchais means round. What do you mean? So why didn't you tell us until now that kruchais is round? Yeah? Why didn't you tell us until now that kruchis is round? Why is Rashi saying now all of a sudden that it has to be round? Right? That why didn't he tell us all along that kruchis is round? Yeah? He told us the first sugya. First he said kruchis means layers. And then when it came to chadurais, and you wanted to say chadurais is round, Zok Rashi, no, chadurais means chadurais can't mean round because kruchais means round. I thought kruchais means layers. So I want to tell you like this. Kruchais means layers, but why is it called kruchais? Why is it called kruchais? It's only called kruchais because the pshat is it gets wrapped around like that. Every year another wrap. If kruchais were not round, you would not call it kruchais. The fact that it got layers. So the fact that it's kruchais, it's both layers and round. That's what I want to tell you, Pshat and Rashi. Anyway, Bekitza, a nice pshat. Okay. Anyway, Bekitza, the other pshat Rashi says is it's a lashon of chad. Chadurais or chadudois. In other words, that it comes to a point. Okay. Something more like this. Hilkach. Hey chad miftzalom. And the shadow is what the hilkach is, but okay, we're not gonna hilkach. Hey chad miftzalom. If it comes to if it branches out loydina v'loydina, that's for sure. It's for sure a chayam hechad miftzala, but if it's not doesn't branch out, be'inan kruchais, kadurais v'charukais. You need all three. You need kruchais, which means layers or round. Chadurais, which means pointy or round. Now, and charukais, which is the notches, right? I need krukais chadurais to disqualify the A's, and I need charukais to disqualify the shar. Now, v'hu demivli chirikayu. That in other words, that so far the way Rashi's learning like this. That charukais are not a good siman unless they're very close to each other. If they're not close to each other, those charukais don't show you anything. Yeah? V'hainu sveika de izach karkais, Rashi learns like this. That be'etzem there's a kasha. There's an obvious kasha. once I have kruchos, once I have chadurais and charukais, why do I need kruchos? Right? Why do I need kruchos? If once I already have chadurais, which already chadurais means what? Either chad or round, either one, I already disqualified the A's, so why do I need kruchos? Why do I need, there should be kruchos? I disqualified the shor because it's charukos, meaning that it has the notches. And I disqualified A's because it's chadurais, which is round and pointy. So why do I need kruchos? Why do I need levels? Right? So Rashi, that's where we come with the hainu sveika the iza karkas. In other words, that there's still a chashash that maybe it is a iza karkas. A iza karkas was an unusual iza, and this iza karkas we're going to see in the Gemara is a suffix if it's a chaya or a behema b'chlal. But on the tzad that it is a behema, so memela on the tzad that it's a behema, it's a problem that how am I going to disqualify it? 1 second. So we're just going to go. We're going to go kipshuta, and we're going to say that the pshat is that we're going to go kipshuta that this iza karkais is an unusual A's, and this iza karkais would not be disqualified by doing the chadurais and the charukais, right? So that's why I need the kruchais. But fragging the rishonim, so good, but maybe still. So why can't we say that what? Just do why isn't once we say kruchais and once we do kruchais and charukais, yeah. The question is that kasha that what am I worried about? Kruchais, A's is not kruchais, and charukais, ashar is not charukais. Right? So I already disqualified everything once I do kruchos and charukos. That is the kasha of the Rishonim. Okay, Zok Gemara weiter. V'hainu sveika iza karkas, ahi iza karkas da havoi beirish galusa. Zok Gemara, there was this iza karkas that showed up in the house of the Reish Galusa, in the major estate of the Reish Galusa. We know what the Reish Galusa was. The Reish Galusa was, right, was the exilarch, right? Was this governing body that ruled over the Yidden in Bavel. They had like a mamish, like he came from Malchus Beis David, and he was the Jewish prince, and he had full. It was like there was like an autonomous province in Bavel under the Shvar Malka, under the ruler. But they the Reish Galusa lived like a prince. I mean, he lived like he was the ruler, and he lived like a prince. Anyway, so this Iza Karka shows up to the Reish Galusa. The Okar, Malay, Tzana, the Tarba Minei. They collected a full basket full of fat from it. And now the question is, could you eat it or not? What's the story? Is this a chaya and we can have geshmaka fats, or it's a behema and it's asa? Yeah, that's the shayla. Yeah.
Goes to right.
Asar. Rabbi Choy Asad. He said that this Iza Karkas is Asar. Rabbi Shmuel Breder Rav Bavo Achaminei. He ate from it. Kariya Nafshe, Mipri Pi Ish Tizma Bitnoi. Vibout. I have the Torah, and I was Kabbalah that it's mutter. I was able to have a nice kishmaka fatty suda. And the Maisa had to be paskin sholkum mitam hilchos hakavos de Shmuel berei de Rabavo v'zo Rabbeinu Achoy shemer enei goylahu. So kipshut. So Rashi says, now this is the famous shiltas Rabbi Achoy from also from the Bostonite story, right? He was you know who he was, right? Bostonite was one of the children from the Reish Galusa family, and he was there was a whole story, and they killed out the whole family. And Bostonite was saved. He was that one child, and he was raised together with another child. That other child was Achoy, and they were raised together, and Rabbi Chai ended up becoming one of the greatest Goinim. The Shiltas Rabbi Chai, he was one of the greatest Goinim in Klal Yisrael. Anyway, Bekitz and Nimrods. So they sent Hizaru Rabbi Chai Shemer Einei Goilahu. And so Rashi learns that the pshat is don't do anything against him in front of him. You go speak to him in learning and see what happens and try to convince him. And Lamaisa, so Kipshutif, and the fact that the Gemara said that we have to have kruchos because we need to hainu sveika the izakarkas, which means that we can't eat the izakarkas. That nobody was Lamaisa or matzliach to paskin not like Rabbi Chai, or to convince him off his shita, and therefore we taka choishish that the izakarkas is a behema. So the Gemara weiter. From here we're going to start a whole bunch of gishmake. I got the Gemara. The keresh ein leyelu keren echad mutter. What the Gemara said, the keresh af b'shein leyelu keren echad. It only has one keren. It is mutter. Now what's this keren? The keresh. Zok the Gemara Rabbi Yehuda. Keresh tavya debei loy. The keresh is the tzvi of the forest called Bei Eloi. And there's something else that's from that forest. Tagris is Ari de Bei Eloi. We don't know if this is the tiger or not, or very possibly the tiger got the name from this. That it was but there was this unbelievable Ari de Bei Eloi, which is called Tagris. Rashi says we don't know what we're referring to. In other words, Keresh, the Rabbi Yehuda is explaining Pshat in the Brisa. But where does it say Tagris that Rabbi Yehuda is saying? You know, when it says Tagris, it means this. Rashi says, I don't know where it says it anyway. Okay. Anyway, what's this Keresh? So the Sichas Chulin wants to suggest that it is the giraffe, because a giraffe has that Karen Echad in the middle, has that thing, and that's what he wants to suggest is the Tavit de Bai Eloi. So yeah, we showed a picture yesterday, but let's move on. Amrav Kana Teisha Amasa Hava Bein Una Lu'una Dari de Bai Eloi. There's 9 amas between ear to ear of Dari de Bai Eloi. Now which ears? Which ears are we talking about? We could be talking about the ears over here, or we could be talking about what we normally call unois, right? What do we call unois? The ears of the lung, right? The ears of the lung, right? Of the top things are the unois. So the shayla is, which one are we talking about over here? So most of the Mefarshim say that we're talking about these ears. And the reason why we're talking about these ears is because how is anybody going to get close to an Ari to be able to say how big it is? It must be that the Pshat is we're talking about what was seen. You can see it from the Vitins, but obviously you can't get close to this Ari de Bei Eloi. However, like the other Pshat that learns that Uno, we're talking about the lungs, what we're trying to say is that the Pshat is that the Gemara is going to say soon that he has a tremendous roar, and the roar is so loud, that's why it's so far, there's 9 amas between each una le'una. Yeah? I would just... What?
A few miles away.
What did you say? Yeah, the Gemara is going to say. Now, I would just say that if we're talking about the una, if we're talking about the lungs, why would you dafka talk about the ears and not talk about the uma? There's the main part of the lung, and then there's the small parts of the lung, the unois, the ears. Why would we talk about the unois if we could talk about the lung itself? Why are we talking about putting the little pieces? Yeah, that would be a reason that we should really be talking about the ears and not the lungs. The skin of the Tavi de Bai Eloi is 16 ames long. And now we're going to have a whole bunch of conversations with the Caesar with Rabbi Shua ben Chananya. And it comes in. It comes in from this Gemara, because we're talking about the Ari de Bai Eloi. The pasuk says that if a lion roars, will you not be scared? Right? kasha was like this. It says that if the lion roars, will you not be scared? Right. So over here also, and the end of the pasuk is Eli Hashem Elikechem Diber Mi Lo Yinave. Right. That the pshat is that everyone should be scared of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is talking, the words of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Navi is comparing HaKadosh Baruch Hu to a Ari. So the question is, yeah. Ma'irivuse. What's the big deal of an Ari? Pirsha Katal Ari. A horseman, a what's called it, a warrior could kill an Ari. So big deal. I don't hit. I mean, between me and you, I think that the Caesar can rednish and learn. I mean,
so it gets to be scared.
No, even if it could kill an Ari. So Adrabah. The pasuk is saying that what? That you're scared of an Ari, so you should be scared of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So what's his question? Why are you comparing Hashem to Ari? So why are you scared of an Ari? What do you want from me? But you're scared of an Ari? If you're scared of an Ari, you should be scared of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's all the pasuk is saying. What's the, anyway, Bekitza. You should go out and learn it. Okay, anyway, Bekitza, Amalei lav kahai Ari masel. Not like the regular everyday Ari is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu compared to Ka'arya debei Eloi masel. No, he's compared to the real to the real McCoy. The Arya debei Eloi. Amalei bina the mixes. Like, so the Kesar is, and the case is we're going to see from this Gemara. He's very, very, very used to getting his way. He says, "Bina the mixes. I want to see this Ari debei Eloi." The mixes lead nihile. You should bring it to me. Amalei le mitzalsis. Le matzis chazle. You're not going to be able to see it. Amalei ever chazinale. No. I said something. I'm going to see it. Okay. So you want to see it? Listen here. At your service. So Reb Shua ben Chananya was mispal. Boy Rachmi is akemi duchte. So this Ayid Be'iloi left its place and it starts coming. When it was still 400 paras away, Nihem Chad Kala. It made one roar, and Afilu Kol Mavarta. All the women that were pregnant, they were mapel. The Shura, the Raimi Nafal, and the walls of Rome fell down just from one roar. When it was 300 paras away, Nihem Kol Achrida. It made another roar. Not their kichi v'shini de gavri. The teeth and the different teeth. Tyson talks about which teeth we're talking about. Just slipped out of just fell out of people's mouths. And it was such a tremble that the Caesar himself fell off his throne. Amalei b'metusa. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. Ask, please be misbal that he should go back. Yeah? He was misbal and he went back. I want to see your God. Now, the Mefarshim are very, very bothered by the Seidah Dvarim over here. Here's somebody who tried to see just the Ayah the Be'iloi, and he failed, right? And so right, he failed on that.
That's why you want to see the Eibishter.
Yeah?
You should be afraid of the Eibishter.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. Yeah, that's one thing. And the other question is, like this. They want to know why did he ask Reb Shua ben Chananya to ask him to return? Why didn't he ask him to be misbowel that this Ayah Be'iloi should behave when it comes? It shouldn't roar. So that's what they want to say. That's what they want to say. But L'chura asking him to change course. He was on his way here, and all of a sudden telling him to come to turn around. That's also somewhat of a control of the teva.
And this is pretty the purpose, because we want to see if so, how can be scared of it.
I want to suggest like this. This was a kiyum. Who says? How do you read this Gemara? Was it a flop or wasn't a flop? The Kesar said he wants to see the Ari. He wanted to see him. He wanted to see how big he was. He wanted to see how great he was. How he wanted to see this unbelievable power. And Lamaisa and Bachananya told him it's not worth it because they're all going to be mappal and and the wall's going to fall down, etc. But he wanted it, so he got it. This is not a lack of a kiyum. This is a kiyum, right? And then he asked him another request: do me a favor, go back. Ask him to turn around, go back. After we saw it already, but we saw it. It's not a flop, right? It's not a flop. He saw it already. If the Ari is going to all of a sudden if the Ari is going to act like a cat, then what's the big deal? That's not an Ari. I want to see the Ari. That was the whole thing. Was this lion? That's what I want to suggest. And it's not a kasher b'chlal on this thing. He was able to see to a certain extent. He was able to see. Not that he didn't see, but that's called seeing. Yeah. Okay. So to my right. I want to see your Eibishter. He's talking like a Roman. This is talking like a Roman. By us, there's only one Bashefer, but by them they have 1,000,000. So he says, I want to see your God, like as if there's mine and his and Yenim's and right. I want to see yours. You can't see it. No. I'm going to see it. Azal Okmei Lahadi Yoima. So Rabbi told him, come outside in the sun. But Kufas time is in the hot sun, in the middle of the summer. Amalei is Tackle Bay. Look at the sun. Amalei, let me see. I can't look at the sun. Amalei Yoima, the Yoima, the Yoima, which refers to the sun. The Chad Mishamshe the Kaimi Kamei the Kuchabrichu. The sun is only one of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Mishamshim. Amr Lemesinas Takula Bay. You can't look at Shechina like Koshkin. You want to try to look at the Shechina himself. It's not Shaykh. Okay, so that's the end of that conversation. Okay, so now I wanna feed your God. I wanna invite him to what's called it. I wanna host God. He has too many people. He has too many misharsim. You can't feed the Eibishter's entourage. No. I'm going to do it. Yes. Amen. Emes, I'm going to do it. Amalei. So Rabbi Shua ben Chanai told him, Puk Savis Legida de Revisa. He told him, so the way Rashi explains that this was all a fool, he was fooling him. In other words, like this. Rabbi Shua ben Chanai recognized that he can't do it, but he couldn't get around what the Kesa wanted. So he told him something. He convinced him to set up shop, set up this whole big suda on the bank of the river. And the reason why he told him on the bank of the river was for two reasons. He told him that he was telling him on the bank of the river because it's a nice big area. Oh, a nice big area is going to be enough place for all of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Misharsim. But the real reason is because over there the wind is, and the wind's going to blow it away. Puk Tzavis Legida de Revisa, on the bank of Revisa. The Revicha Alma, there's plenty of room there. Tarach Shita Yarchi Kaita. So he was. Why does the guy want?
You can't win him. We're going to try to
So he was Tarach Shita Yarchi Kaita. Asa Zika Kancha, after 6 months of preparing this massive Suda, Asa Zika Kancha Liyama. It collected the whole thing and went straight into the water. So then he tried again. He tried to set up shop for in the winter. Asa Mitra Tave Biyama. The rain came and soaked it and washed it all into the water. Amalei my high. So yes, Rabbi Shua Chananya, what's going on here? Amalei is very simple. Hani kinusoi and zaluchoi. It's the asukame. This is the sweepers and the washers that come before God. First, you have the sweepers. That's the wind. Comes in and sweeps away everything, clears out the area, and then comes the zaluchoi, the asukame. So what exactly the message over here is? I mean, Rashi seems to learn it was just that he was getting at just that he had no eitzah, so he had a way of getting around it. But maybe there's some sort of a message here. I'm not sure. So I took my right to Amalei ihachi leimatzina. He says, "Oh, Ibizai. If this was just for the first, just the janitors that are first coming in, then I'm giving up this project." Amalei bas kesar, and over here, so I'm being medaik. This is the only time he said leimatzina. In the other cases, he didn't say leimatzina. Why? Because this is the only one that's. This one failed. The one before, when he told him to turn around, that was not a leimatzina. Amalei bas kesar Rabbi Shua ben Chananya. She also was getting in on the fun. She told Rabbi Shua ben Chananya, "Elikeicha nagru." Your God, again, Elikei, talking like a Roman, your God, all different kinds of gods, your God is a Nagrahu. He's a carpenter, Dichsev, Hamekara, B'mayim Al Yosef. He built like a carved in the water Al Yosef ceilings. Eimalei, the Navali Chad Masturisa. He should make me a tool out of wood. That this is a masterisa was a tool that they would use to cut open the bundles of string. I don't. Yeah, that's what they would do. Omar l'chai, no problem. Boy rachmei alei v'inga. Lamaisa, see, he was mispal the inga, and she got taras, and oisva beshuka de roimi v'yavula masturisa the havanihigi the chol the manga beroimi yavula masturisa v'yav beshuka v'sasa deluli. There was a very interesting. This all has some sort of significance, and obviously it would need some sort of a pshat. I looked around, I didn't see why, but the meaning in Rome was that if somebody had tzaras, there was no eitzah. You got to just daven. So how do you know? How do you give them? How does everyone know that you have tzaras? If somebody is sitting in the shuk and is using this masterisa, cutting open the bales of string, so we know that person has taras, and whoever would see somebody doing that would be mispal for them. So what happened was, so she said, "I need a masterisa," and he said, "No problem, I'll be mispal." And the Eibush Taka gave him taras, and as soon as the Eibush gave him taras, they handed her a masterisa to go do it in the shuk that people should be mispal for. So one day Rabbi Shua ben Chananya was passing her by in the shuk. She was sitting in and being soisa the dululi b'shuka. Is it good? Do you like the masterisa that my God gave you? Over here he's using the lashon of Elikai. Do me a favor. Ask him to take to take back what he gave me. Amalei Elikadi Dan, our God, Meiv Yov Mishkal Eshakal. He gives, he doesn't take. Okay. Again, was he mispal? Was he not mispal? Was he just saying what exactly happened over here in this Gemara? Yeah, obviously this Gemara is loaded. So Gemara right down my Anayisugya. Yeah, Rabbi Yehuda Shahar. We discussed what is we discussed what the properties of a chay is. Now we're going to talk about a shar. Shar kreison ukraston ufraston. Kraston means it has a big belly. Upraston is that it has big hooves. Now, Loit Rebbeinu Tam is very gishmak, because we said that what is the difference between the tlofim of a chay and tlofim behema. So that's what the tlofim and the prasim. Oh, so now that's the hemshich to the prastan. But like the rivam, we're gonna have to say that it's still the ma'isa for seif kol seif. We mentioned the word prusais, so we're using that's the shaykhis, but not that the pshat is we're talking about a process. Rav Reishay Rav Gnuv say has a big head and a big tail. The chilufa bechamra, and the different and chamra has the fakir. Chamra has a smaller stomach, a smaller paris, smaller footprint, and has a small head and a small tail. The chiluf bechamra the ma'inaf mina lemechel memka. So the Rishonim talk about it exactly what the Mechel Memcha is. That it seems like that there's a certain amount of a stomus that you could assume that a person meant when he ordered, when they made an agreement that he should deliver paris. He only had one Karen. Yeah, Karen achas hoisalei b'mitzchay. Why do you have one Karen? We'll see in the Gemara, but the Maharsha says because the word is that he wanted to show that this is one Eibishter. There's only one Karen. There's only one. That's the Karen achas hoisalei b'mitzchay. Shenemar v'ateitiv laHashem mishor par. So Rashi says shor par. What does it mean shor par? That shor is a lashon of even a ben yoimoy, but a par is 3 years old. So he's a shor par, right? He's right. Who's the one that's a shor par? That this is Adam Rishon was a shor par. Right away, it was born in its full size. Makrin mafris. So where do we see from Makrin mafris that it has one horn? And the Gemara asks it like this. The Gemara asks Makrin tarti mashma. So kipshuta Makrin tarti mashma because it has a word yud Makrin, like a lashon rabbim. But Rashi says not like that. Makrin means is it has a horn. If it has a horn, stam paris have two, like everybody else has two. So what are we medayik from the Makrin? And the kipshuta Rashi didn't want to say that we're doing for the lashon of Makrin and lashon rabbim because Makrin could be just that he is with horn. Anyway, Bekitza, yeah. Tarti mashma amra nachman Makrin ksiv. It says it a chaser. So because it says a chaser is a raya that we wanted to have only one horn. Oh, it had only one horn. V'am Rabbi Yehuda. Shor shehikriv adam arishin karnoisav koid mois leparsoisav. His Karen came before his process. Most animals, all other animals, obviously, they're born without the horns in, right? And you have the process. So you have the process right away, and the Karen doesn't come for a while. But he got karnoisav koid mois leparsoisav, right? So why was it Taka Karnaisim Kodim Parasaisav? Why Taka? So maybe Loitis Marsha is very gishmak. That was the message. One Karen and then afterwards two. After you have the one, the Eivish is one, then after that comes to the Parsoisav. So that's why the Shor Sheikh of Adam Arishan was Karnoisav Kodem with Parsoisav. Shanam Vatet Lashem Mishor Par Makrin Mafris Makrin Beresha. First the horns, and then afterwards Vahadab Mafris. Now Rashi is Ma'irich to say that normally the Parsoisav comes first, because otherwise, just from the fact that it says Makrin Mafris is Nishken Raya that the Karnoisav come first, because it could be they happen at the same time. And you have to say one before the other. But if normally the Parsoisav come first, and here and it says Makrin first, so obviously the Karen came out before the thing. That the pshat is he was born and Messiah B'Shor B'Levi Kol Ma'aser Bereshis B'Kay Masa Nivru. They were born full size, 20-year-olds. B'daitam nivru, b'tziv yoinam nivru. Shenam v'yichlu hashamayim v'aretz v'chol tzavaam. Al tikri tzavaam el tziv yoinam. They came in full form and full what's called it. They were completely what's called it. Now, how do we know? Rashi doesn't really say. How do we know that the Karen came first? Do we know that the Karen came first from the fact that it's become Masa Nivru?
Hamas and the we would think it all come out the same.
Rashi says, "Ulefikach kod mukar became Masa Nivru. Ulefikach kod mukar noisov sheharei imai noitzru v'yotzu tchila." So what's that? What's the v'yotzu tchila? Pasuk zeh sar ha'olam hamroi. The sar oilam. Sar oilam is this big malach. The malach that's called the sar oilam. And he said it. We'll get back to it. It's a very important toisus here. B'shasha ma'kadosh baruch hu leminayo be'ilanois. No, so the shoyim kal v'chayim be'yatzma. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told the Ilanis they should stick to their own min. They should not mix with the other ones. No, so the shoyim kal v'chayim be'yatzma. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not tell it to the shoyim. He didn't tell it to the Zerayim. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted that, if he wanted us to be all mixed up, then why did he say lemineu by the trees? Trees that even of their own type, they're not regularly staying. They don't go next to each other. Each one has place to spread out. Us that we already we clump together and it's going to be all big. It's clearly not going to be defined the separate the differentiation between the different minim if we're going to be all together. So avada achas kama v'kama is l'maisa yatsu l'minoi. They kol echad echad yatsa leminoi they would taka, and so by the tzivui of the Zroim it doesn't say lemineu, but lemaisa when they came out it does say lemineu. Pasach sar oilam v'ama yichvoid Hashem leolam yismach Hashem b'masav. Now Tosfos is ma'irich, and this is just the Yisod the Gazach. There's a and it's negaya for the Yiratzin by what's it called by the Tekiyas, this thing, so it's very negaya. Tosfos is like this. The generally speaking, the Sar Oilam is known as Metatroin. That's the Malach that's known as Metatroin. And Metatroin is this big. He's the head honcho in Shamayim. Is Metatroin. It happens to be that it's Negeya that they mention it for those that are what's called it. For those there's a big tumul legabe the what's called it legabe the hirotzen in by the Tekiyas. If we say it, if we don't say it, if it means Rahman al-Tzon Ish, there are those that wanted to say that it means Ish. It's referring to the Malach Metatron, which is big gematria kashrak. But anyway, that's his idea gezach. But anyway, this Malach, there's a medrash that says that who is the Sara Oilam? Sara Oilam is Enoch. Chanoich. Right? It says that what happened that he became a Malach, that he became the Saroil. So, and that is, and Tosfos brings down that that's what we say by on Hashanah Rabbah. Very interesting. When we say on Hashanah Rabbah we say Takif Mitatra. We say Shenepach le'esh mevasav oimer. Who's the Takif Mitatron Shenepach le'esh? What do you mean nepach le'esh? Why was he nepach? Because he started off as a human and then he was turned into a malach. So it's nepach le'esh. That's what the mevasav oimer. So Tosfos' bomb kasha is so oibazoi, but from our Gemara it doesn't stem, because the Gemara is saying that the Sarah Oilam made this announcement of Yichvei Hashem le'olam when b'shas Brias Oilam, and b'shas Brias Oilam Chanoich wasn't born yet. He wasn't around yet. So how could it be that the Sarah Oilam, who's Metatroin, is Chanoich? Yeah, that's Tosfos' kasha. So Tosfos wants to say Taisus wants to say that there's more than one Sar Olam, and the Sar Olam over here is taka metatroin, is taka chanoich. But there's a Sar Olam that was not metatroin, which is who made this announcement of Yichvoid Hashem LaOlam. So tomorrow, let's go one by Ravina. Hirkiv Shnei Deshoyim Zal Gavzem. Le Rab Chanina Bar Papa Mahu. Let's say somebody was markiv. One zera on another one. Le Rab Chanina Bar Papa that HaKadosh Baruch Hu never was mitzvah. They just stay lemineu. They just did it midaitam mahu. Kivet like sivbu lemineu le mechayev. Oidilma kiven the iskim ideyu HaKadosh Baruch Hu afterwards it says v'yatzu lemineu. So somehow that's a riot that the hiskim ayadam keman dechsibu lemineu dam teku. That is the kasha. Now there's a veltz marsha here that has to be said. We just have to say over this marsha because this marsha is a veltz marsha. There's a big kasha that the Rambam doesn't bring down this halacha. Why is the Rambam, when he's talking about it, he doesn't bring down this halacha? Zakta Marsha, I'll tell you pshat, and he's like very, very sure about it. He says like this. Look at the Gemara. The Gemara declared, Kivet like sivbu lemineu le mechayev. Aydilma kivet hiskim ideu command sivbu lemineu. What do you mean le mechayev? It's not usher. Why is it a question of chiyuv? Zakta Marsha, a gorgeous vart. Zakta Marsha, because avad it's usher. But the question is malchus. Why? Because since the whole way the Isser of Lemineu came from a Nasu Kal V'choim Be'atzmam. So Memela, there's a problem of Eidan Shemiradim. So Memela, that's the Shaila. That you shouldn't get malchus for what? You won't get malchus for Akavas Yerakis. Because why? Because it is because Eidan Shemiradim. And of them, and what's the other side? The other side is that since kiven the hiskim ideyu, kiman dechsivu lebineu dambi. Is it kiman dechsivu or is not kiman dechsivu? But if it's not kiman dechsivu, you have a problem that what? Yeah, Agavocha, the other mahalach in the Rambam is, the reason why the Rambam doesn't paskin it is because in Yishalmi, they are paishid. And the rule is that the Rambam always paskins if the Bavli is Mesupik and the Yishalmi is Peshinit, he paskins like the. I don't